Morning, morning, morning. 12th man is back. We've got another Gooner to Gooner. I've had Turkish on, I've had Troops on, I've had Lee Gunner on, and now it's Chris Hudson's turn again. Big up, Chris. Great to see you, mate. How are you?
Right, Dan. Yeah, well, I didn't say it was a weird game last night. I turned up, paid me £90. What's, you know, obviously I didn't begrudge one penny of it. Sarcasm.
Sarcasm.
We won, and on we go, mate.
Yeah, last night was a bit odd, weren't it? And
Yeah,
look, I always enjoy it for socials. I always get to see the boys and have a beer with them and have a chat with them about the football. And I always sit with the dad and have a chat with my dad about it and get him involved. But I will say this: it was a strange scenario because we already knew we were through. We're paying a hell of a lot of money. There's probably about 45 to 50,000 in there last night, like tops. A lot of people didn't bother going. And I can actually appreciate and understand it, if I'm honest. Sometimes I'm one of those who says, come on, you've got to do your bit. You've got to do your bit. But I've got to a point in the last 6 months or so that I can understand why people might not want to do their bit, to be honest with you, Chris. And I'll say this
mm,
in comparison before we move to Arsenal. Hats off to PSV last night, mate, because their fans were absolutely outstanding. And I know for a fact that the club had renewed and refunded all their tickets for last night.
wonderful.
What a brilliant gesture. That never happened at our club, would it?
But you know what they could have done? I thought even if they said everyone who turns up last night, you could have got a free pint of beer or a free something, a free program or a free burger. Nothing, zilch. Just for a bit of goodwill, because at the moment there's not a lot of goodwill flying around towards the Arsenal hierarchy. But you know what I mean? That would have been just something, wouldn't it? Yeah, no, I thought it was wonderful by PSV. I've always had a lot of time for Dutch football fans, going back years, mate. When I used to go international football, not England, I used to go watch international football. The Dutch fans are just amazing. Yeah, they're one of the best set of fans in Europe, actually. Yeah, that's another story.
No, listen, I haven't got much experience with them, but I've never had any issues with them. I'll say that.
Yeah,
What I thought they could have done, they ain't going to worry about food or drink with the Arsenal fans. They could have at least put it to a Cat C game so that everyone could have come on 30 quid, not 70 to 90 quid. That's what they should have done, in my opinion. Fill the stadium up. Let's get people
yeah.
there cheap. Let's do a goodwill gesture. But we don't. We don't. It's 70, 80, and 90 quid on average to get into the ground to watch a game where we're 7-1 up. You know what I mean?
And obviously, they don't listen to no one. I know I ain't got a lot of time for the AST, but as you know, they did. I think they did canvass. For the season ticket prices went up, and Arsenal mates just said they listened and completely went on and put them up anyway. You know, so
Well,
I love the team, man. Love the team, but the club and the people that are running it, I think, really are not on my good books at the moment.
if I'm honest with you, mate, I was on the show. Whose show was I on the other week? I really can't remember. But as I joined halfway through it because I was busy. And I heard somebody say the following words, right? I can't remember who it is, so I do forgive whoever it was who said this, and I'm not stealing their thunder. But I joined halfway through, and all I heard him say was, by far the best rant I've ever seen on any platform. And we've wound on 12 years, and I think he could say every word again. And he was talking about you.
Oh,
um,
really?
and that was 2013, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
we're
right.
literally we're literally in a position where everything you've said, we've replaced Wenger with Arteta and Gazidis with, well, to be honest, we've replaced Gazidis and all of them now, it seems. There's not really anybody. Husfami and Ralston Leahy and all these guys have come and gone. Sven Mislintat. We replace them with a load of people. You can just replace all the names of the people back then with the people here. The common denominator is the owners are the same people. That's what it is. So everything you said back then, I thought was spot on, and I must say it's by far the best I've ever seen. And then I think now you look at it and think, if you were saying that again, just replay it because nothing's really changed apart from the date is different, you know. And that's what frustrates it out of me. I think the players and the manager are people who are a little bit more settled with. At the time, everybody seemed to want Wenger out. Not a lot of people, I don't think, are on the bandwagon of getting Mikel Arteta out, although it looks to be turning a little bit of times. But the ownership is still here, and that's where we're at, man. It's how we're running the club in it at the moment.
Yeah. as you said about the fact that what I said in 2013 and now we're in 2025 and it still matters. But the thing is, as I said the last time I come on here with you, Dan, I thought that a lot of other people that we were seeing progress with off the field matters. You know what I mean? I wasn't really thinking about Josh Kroenke and all that in the last 2 years. But this year, as I said the last time I come on here, they've just wiped it all. They've just blown the last 2 years of goodwill, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel personally there's a lot of kind of hate towards the Cronkies and the way that we've been run because of this transfer window and the Champions League games. Before we come on to Arsenal, Aston Villa are through, mate, and they had a pretty good window, Chris.
Well, I must admit, if I was going to Real Madrid and away, which in the next home and away with the Arsenal, I wouldn't mind those two players that Villa loaned out. I mean, they've rolled the dice, and who knows where they could go with it. And when it comes to Europe, Dane, there's no one better than Emery. I'm telling you. And remember, he was PSG's. Oh, they treated him quite badly, PSG. So if you wanted to put one over them, so it's going to be a very interesting game. But the other night I watched PSG, and I thought, hold on, we beat this lot 3-0. But the way they were playing, I think it's a different PSG. That's the way I want to see Arsenal play. And Enrique, well, he knows what he's doing, Dan, doesn't he? You know, I mean, he's got to be up there, one of the best bosses in Europe at the moment. I was very impressed with him.
I love their style of play. They go for it. They play beautiful football. And if I'm honest with you, it was a really good tie actually against Liverpool. I was quite impressed. I thought PSG should have put 3 or 4 past them in the first leg, and certainly in the second leg were there or thereabouts for the win, and they got it on penalties. And look, Emery, you say he's brilliant in Europe. I agree with you. I mean, the CV says that he's brilliant in Europe. I know that it's the Europa League, which is a different competition, but he was at Arsenal and PSG. And the next 2 games, if he does get through, could be PSG and Arsenal. Now, I don't know that Real Madrid are going to be the team that we get past. We'll come on to that in a minute. But I don't want to be funny here. We struggled against Unai Emery in the Premier League. We struggled against him against Villarreal. Like, I'm sorry, man. I don't have the confidence of playing him, even if we did get Villa and we were getting through against Real Madrid. If we miraculously get through this tie at the Emirates and the Bernabeu and we get Aston Villa, if I would have said to you Aston Villa in the semi-finals, let's just say they do beat PSG, you probably would have ripped my hand off. But because it's like Unai Emery, I can't say that I'm 100% confident with it, man.
We got to get past Real Madrid first, Dan.
Of course, and that's why I've made that clear. That I don't think we will personally, but there's a lot of people saying we might, and a lot of people saying that we've got a chance. Let's quickly touch on last night before we do go into that future of Real Madrid game. Made a lot of changes last night, 7 changes in total. I think he had 4 left backs on at one stage, playing at all sorts of positions. However, it was a fairly good game. I think PSV came and give it a good go. It was definitely completely different to the second. The second leg was completely different to the first leg. Who shone for you last night? Who deserves a mention, mate?
Well, I thought Rice was outstanding. He does it with wonderful attitude. Leads by example. And I think he should be captain. But, you know, there you go. I thought Gabriel didn't drop his standards. I thought Zinchenko. I mean, why have we not tried him in that position before? I thought he played really well. That's about it, really. I was disappointed he didn't bring any of the 2 young boys on the bench, especially 24 hours early. He said because they've helped him out in the training lately because of all the injuries, they get their reward. Well, he never put them on, did he?
Nah.
You know, and then I think that sends out not a very good message. I know, obviously, we've promoted 2 this year, which is good, but you don't just stop there. And I'm thinking, you know, we've lost Heaven and the forward, the Man United. You know, I don't want to be losing any more good youngsters, Dan. But I thought last night, why did he not play one of those two young kids on the bench. Even for 15 minutes? But I suppose if he was here, he'd be saying, "Yeah, but he has to keep the players ticking over." You know, I understand. I wish I'd take on board, but perhaps that's me. Dan, I would have liked to see one of the kids get on, even one of them, just to give them a run.
Well, we've got this Cabia kid who they say is rapid. Butler Oyadei is about 22, so he's not really a kid anymore.
Yeah,
And
I
I
was
can't believe he's
thinking more of Caviar. I thought, he's a young Dutch boy as well. It could be quite nice for him. You know what I mean? Perhaps I'm
yeah.
too sentimental and soft, but
Nah, not at all, bruv. I'm with you. And if Arteta's come out and said he's going to do this, maybe unless Arteta believes that who he played were the kids and he meant kind of our reserves, our B team.
no.
But if I'm honest with you, like I saw the team, and if I said to you now, Chris, right, before a ball's kicked in August, I said to you, Chris, we're going to get to the last 16 of the Champions League again, and our front three is going to be Sterling, Tierney, and Marino. You probably would have. You
I
probably would
thought,
have
yeah,
went
you've been on something.
yeah.
You've been in Amsterdam on the mushrooms, Dan, or something. I'll tell you. When I saw that lineup, I said to my son, "That's the forward line from hell." It really is, isn't it? But being fair, old Ray, he had a good game. I was willing him to score a goal last night. You know, I thought he
Yeah, I
played really well last night.
thought he was one of our better players.
I know his loan's been a bit of a disaster, but I mean, I do feel a bit uncomfortable watching him because he's obviously something's gone wrong there, isn't it? He's not the player he was. So, and people slagging him off big time there. Me last time I got on my nerves. Actually, you know, he's not the player he was. He's trying his best. The loan's been a disaster. That's not his fault. You know, let's get on with it. End of.
Look, we all knew that signing was a joke, right? But one thing I would never say is that it's Sterling's fault. It's like with Kai
No,
Havertz when people give him loads of stick, and I'm probably one of them who does, to be fair. But I never ever look at him and think you're the problem. We bought this guy for that much money and put him on that much wages to be our number 9 when he weren't good enough to be our starter number 9. Sterling, when we bought Pepe, I never cared that he was 72. That was not Pepe's fault that he was 72 million pound. Yeah. And this is what we do sometimes is we sit there and we go, "Oh, that Pepe, bloody 72 million, what a wanker." And you think, hang on a minute, there's the club who's the wankers here. They're the ones who have
but
spent this much money.
the sad thing about Pepe, in retrospect, if you look at his stats, he weren't that bad. And his best season,
I keep saying
you
this.
know, his best season, none of us saw it. It was the COVID year. If you look at that season, you know, when that season ended with COVID, and then the following season behind closed doors, you look at his stats, he weren't that bad.
Mate, if you look at the stats of Pepe, he either scored the goal, created a goal, or did one of those terms which I hate, by the way, a pre-assist. But he did quite a lot of that. He created a hell of a
Yeah,
lot. He won us the cup final alongside Aubameyang. I thought he was outstanding in the FA Cup that year. And if I'm honest with you, I thought as much as he weren't my favourite player, Pepe, I thought he got a massive amount of unnecessary criticism alongside some of the others that were underperforming in the side. Everyone wanted to go for him. It was a massive scapegoat because he was £72 million. When I thought, well, hang on a minute, he's our top scorer. He was actually our top goal scorer. People forget that.
yeah.
Yeah. So when people sit there and say, "Oh, Kai Havertz is our top goal scorer," stop giving him a load of stick. Why were you giving Pepe a load of stick when he was our top goal scorer then? You know, you got
Mate,
to remain
it's, a,
consistent with this.
yeah, it's because of the fee, Dan. If we bought him for 25 million, no one, he'd been labelled a bargain.
Facts. No, I agree. It is absolutely to do with the money, and the easiest way to shut people up is to do it on the pitch. In Pepe's case, he actually did do it on the pitch, and he did actually back it
Yeah,
up.
he did.
He
Yeah,
flattered
I
to
know.
deceive at times. I understand he flattered to deceive, and I think we've got that with Kai Havertz as well. There's bits and pieces he does, and I think, "Oh yeah, he's a technically gifted lad, this lad." And then he looks like a donkey where he falls over his feet, you know. And I'm thinking, "Oh, come on." So that is why it frustrates a lot of people. And look, Kai Havertz, I've got no problem with him being part of the squad next season. With his injury now, he's not going to be able to start, so he's going to have to be a squad player. But I do think that when it's with the likes of a proper number 9, I think everybody, either you support Arsenal or don't support Arsenal, knows that we're going to have to go and buy a centre forward now. I mean, it's scary that we haven't. I'm with you. I didn't want Rashford or Asensio because I was aiming higher. But if you would have told me at the time it's Rashford, Marlon, and Asensio or nobody. Those three would have come in and done a really good job for us now because look at what they're doing. You know, I mean, Asensio, crikey, they're looking at getting him for about £15 million. He's been phenomenal for them. Absolutely brilliant for them. He's been, you know, so that, and people say there wasn't anyone.
No.
Well, they signed
I think we covered my anger over the transfer window, and I still won't forgive them. I don't care what happens this season. You know, I don't want to be going to the Bernabeu with Mourinho up front, please. Because, you know what I mean? Rudiger stand there and laugh, won't he? But let's be honest.
No,
I mean, by the way, I don't want people to think Mourinho is putting a shift in. It's not his fault, but he don't want to play as a number 9. He shouldn't be there as a number 9. But because of the situation we find ourselves in, and the people in charge just wrote the season off, which we covered my anger in the last time I come here. That's down to them, mate.
Yeah, it is. And do you know what is mad? Is I don't really know that I've been impressed with a Mourinho performance. Now, again, I don't put this on to Mourinho because I think if I'm honest with you, he's come to the Arsenal and he's hardly played in the position that we bought him for. Let's be real. You know, when Odegaard was injured, he was playing in the attacking role. We've played him in times at the defensive role. Now we're playing him up front. Now, he hasn't really impressed me when he's played in the 8, if I'm honest, but that's just me. Some people do like him. But surely this is the last time we see Mourinho up front now that Martinelli's back. There's no way I can see him playing up top now. Martinelli, Trossard, and I'd rather play Martinelli, Trossard, and Sterling than have Mourinho through the middle. If I'm honest with you, I would. You know, because they're all in their natural positions at least. But Ethan Nwaneri, I think, coming back into the mix is obviously it's good that he didn't play him and he give him a bit of a rest because he is young. Last night there was no need. But why did he bring on Martinelli and Timber when they're on yellow cards, Chris? I just do not get that at all. That is the biggest risk I've ever seen. Obviously, Rice got a card, but come on, man, what's happening there?
And it's not the first time he's done that either, is it? He's Pat. I ain't been funny. Perhaps he don't know. You know, perhaps he doesn't realise. I don't know. It's just. I thought that. Why take the risk then? You know. Especially these referees in Europe, A, are better than ones we've got.
Yeah.
But B, they do give out bookings for fouls that in the Premier League wouldn't be a booking. E.g. Rice, that was not.
Kivior or Rice should have been booked last night.
No one does. And I still think, you know, when you see the standard of refereeing in the Champions League, compare it to the Premier League, it's like chalk and cheese, mate. I mean, I thought the other night, the Liverpool game, that referee, Salah, tried to con him in the end, right at the end of that penalty. At the end, he had a dive. No way, mate. I'd love to see foreign refs in the Premier League, you know. I really would. Pay them top dollar. We're supposed to be the best league in the world. Let's have the best officials, you know.
I've always agreed with that. I do think that we need to look at the refereeing and go overseas because, let's be real, a lot of people say you want to buy overseas players. Why can't we go and get overseas refs? That's the way I see it. Let's put this super chat in from space. Big up to you, mate. It says, love the 12th man show, Dan. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well too, bro. Make sure you hit the likes and subscribe to the channel, people. We're on our way to 40K, which is incredible. So thank you so much for all of your support. I really do appreciate that. Make sure you're also following our sponsors of the day, Reality Raffles. There's still an opportunity for you to get involved with the prize of £100,000 cash. So please make sure that you click on the link in the description to get entered for that. Reality Raffles have got unbelievable prizes as well, so make sure you're following them on Instagram and social media, or just go to their website, link in the description, and have a look. They've got football tickets, they've got stadium tours, they've got unbelievable chances for music concerts as well as prize money. So make sure you go over there and support them. Chris, let's move forward because the Champions League sees us now facing Real Madrid. I don't know if you watched any of that game because I struggled to.
No, not yet.
But from what I hear, Real Madrid weren't amazing and Atletico were a little bit unlucky from what I heard. I'm sure the chat will agree with that because that's the kind of common consensus that I've got from people that did watch the game. Let me ask you this, winding back a bit, who did you want is my first question. And my second question, now we've got Madrid, how do you feel?
I wanted Real Madrid because I think if we got the other team, it would be 0-0, and it would have ended up going to penalties, and it'd been possibly one of the biggest bore fests we've ever watched in our lives. Real, I suppose, if I'm going to pay a lot of money to go to the Emirates, I want to see. I'm looking forward to seeing their their array of talent. It's wonderful, isn't it? And the next question: have we got a chance? Well, in every game, you got a chance. I don't, I'm not going to turn up and say we're going to get mullered, but if you put a gun to my head, I don't think we'll go through. But it doesn't mean, we got to give up. Let's give it a go and see where it takes us then, But I'll be more confident going into that game if we had Havertz or Jesus fit. If we could get Saka on the pitch, it could make a difference, But the thing is, it doesn't matter how bad Real Madrid might have played. They got players who can, at a click of a finger, can just win the game for them. So and we haven't at the moment. Everyone
they've got moments, players, and we haven't. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Then obviously people say, we got to be careful here. Obviously, I want to see Saka on the pitch, Dan, but I don't want to see him rush back.
Right. So that was my next question. Then go on, talk to me.
I don't, and I like to think people at Arsenal that they obviously the doctors and that know what they're doing. If he's fit, play him. But if he, you know what I mean? Well, I'm not sure. If there's a slight doubt, you can't put him on that field and bang, he does his injury again, and he's out right into next season. So you got to be careful, Dan.
We've got to be massively careful.
We really have. We got Martinelli back. It'll be a wonderful experience especially for the two kids in the team. It'll be a wonderful experience for the Arsenal supporters. I think. Tell you what I want. I want the second leg in Madrid to be still up for grabs. I'll tell you why. Because the amount of people that will be travelling and all booking their flights, trains, cars, automobile, you name it. You don't want them travelling out of Spain and they're 3-0 up Madrid. You know what I mean? People say, you can go there and have a nice couple of days. Yeah, but it's best you want to go to Madrid with the game still on edge. If you see what I mean, I want that leg, the second leg, for the game to still be up for grabs. That's what I want.
I agree. I want to go to the Bernabeu believing we can go through, and I don't want to go to the Bernabeu but being 3-0 down. Look, the Saka, I'll touch on that very quickly because if Saka ain't 100%, I don't want to see him till next year, right? I don't want to see him till next year. It's our fault for not replacing him. It's our fault for not bringing in somebody like Brian Mbeumo or Asensio, like you've mentioned, to cover for him, right? So that's the Saka situation. If he is, however, I do think we need to play him if he is 100% fit because he's that important and he's the only moments player we've got. And in my opinion, he's the only chance we've got of nicking Sank against a team like that. Now, Real Madrid have not been impressive of late, if I'm honest, but it doesn't matter. Real Madrid don't need to be impressive to win. That's the difference. Real Madrid do not need to be impressive to go through and win the whole competition because I haven't been massively impressed by them in the new format. I haven't been massively impressed with them in La Liga. They're not running away with the league. And if I'm honest, I haven't been massively impressed when I have watched them. They've lost some unbelievable games. They got spanked by Barcelona. I think they've lost to Betis and some other teams like that in La Liga. In the Champions League, we saw Brest beat them, and I think it was Lille or someone like that. And it was like, wow, Real Madrid might actually be struggling here. But they always find a way, man, and they stink their way through. And last night, they stunk their way through with penalties. They missed a penalty, Vinny Jr., in the game. So if we got them, I'm not saying it's absolutely impossible and they're too good and they're playing too much better than us. I'll say this. If Saka's fit, we're only missing Havertz. That is it.
Yeah.
First 11, right? So Raya's in goal. At the moment, unless anyone else gets injured, this is. But we've got Raya in goal. We've got White. We've got Timber. We've got Calafiori. We've got Lewis-Skelly. We've got Gabriel and Saliba. Partey or Jorginho. Rice or Mourinho. Erdegaard or Wanyeri. And our front line will probably be with Trossard or Martinelli getting the nod. And then Saka and Ethan Wanyeri. So you've still got Marino, as mentioned. You've still got the likes of the others that have come on last night, the Sterlings and Zinchenko's. So this isn't going to be a we can't beat Real Madrid because we ain't got a squad, or we ain't going to beat Real Madrid because of our injuries. That ain't going to be the case because apart from Tomiyasu, who ain't been seen all season, there's only Jesus and Havertz that are injured. So I do think that we need to look at that and think, well, if people don't think we can beat them, then why? Because you rated this squad at the start of the season and there's only our striker missing. That is it. So I don't know about you. Does that give you any more confidence if that is the case?
Yeah, of course it does. But the thing is, we've also got to remind ourselves I'm still not 100% sure of top 4 or top 5. So at the moment, because our squad is small, we're not going to go into that again. So you got that. You got league games around these 2 fixtures, which, by the way, we've got to win. So it's going to be a right big test to this squad, Dan. And in the middle of that, you got an international break. So you got our players going off all over the world playing. You know what I think of international football. What a stupid time having an international break. It really is, isn't it? So you'll be like that for that. International. I'm going to be like that.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's not gonna be fun, mate, at all. If I'm honest.
And the thing is it will. I'm asking myself, will Arteta rotate the league games in between the 2 fixtures? I think we've got Fulham, Everton, Madrid home. Then I think we play Ipswich away. So I'm not sure it's something like that. So we still got to keep on that league. Then I'll tell you, on Sunday we must win. I know I'm diverted a little, but we must get 3 points Sunday. Because I'm looking at the league table with Forest. If we was to slip up, Forest and Chelsea suddenly we'd be right up our backsides then, and we will be in a fight for top 4. But everyone's telling me I'm panicking a little bit because it will go down to 5th, and Man City are on 47 to our 54, which gives us a little breathing space.
I think we're going to get Champions League spots, but I've got to be honest with you. You might disagree with this. It sounds very negative what I'm about to say, which is funny because everyone says that's what I am, right? But I don't actually care where we come if we don't win the league. Like, I've got to be honest with you. I don't think we're dropping out this top 5. I don't care if we don't come second, if we come third, or we come fourth. It don't bother me. Used 2 years ago, right? It's nice to be the runners up if you really want to go down that road, but I don't remember it in years to come and go, at least we got bloody second that year. We didn't get third. Like, I couldn't give a damn. I really could not care less, really. I don't want to drop out of Champions League because that's disastrous. That's sackable, right? But I do think that we'll be all right with that, if I'm honest with you.
But the thing is, it's going to be interesting to see how he will have to rotate. And we haven't got a lot of rotate with, being honest, have we? So, you know what I mean? So it's going to be quite interesting. But on Sunday, I want to see the best version of Arteta's Arsenal Sunday. Because I don't want to go into that international break. Chelsea and Notts Forest right up our backsides. I really don't.
Of course not. Look, let's read out the fixtures before we do move towards the Premier League weekend. We've got Chelsea at the weekend, and then you're rightly so say that we've got an international break. When we come back from that international break, we have the following. We've got Fulham at home. Then we've got Everton away. Then we've got Real Madrid at home. Then we've got Brentford at home. Then we've got Real Madrid away, and then Ipswich away. What do you make of that running?
I'll tell you what, listen to that. I think if you're an Everton fan, you'll be rubbing your hands together. So the game before we play Madrid I'll tell you what, if you got a ticket, don't go because he will play a weakened team there. And our record at Goodison's awful, Dan, isn't it?
It is.
But other than that, they're quite winnable games. I'll be careful. Are they winnable? Yeah. But out of that lot, Everton worries me because I think he'll play a weakened team. And then after we played Madrid away, we go to Ipswich. Who, let's face it, by then I think could be down anyway. So yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not a bad running. I mean, Brentford are a good side. Ipswich are fighting for their lives. Everton under Moyes is difficult. Fulham at home, we haven't really done too well against Fulham home or away. But I don't look at any of them and think, well, they're not winnable, any of those. So let's just play the kids because we can actually get a run going together. And it is important that we keep momentum around this Champions League fixture. But let me ask you this on Saka quickly. If Saka's fit for the Real Madrid game, which is on the 8th of April, right, would you against Everton the game before give him a run out? Because he can't just come and
No.
start. He can't just come and start against Real Madrid, can he?
I don't know, Dan, because like good as Everton away is always a very physical game, isn't it? I'll give him say 20 minutes, but I wouldn't play him the whole 90. Not Everton.
No.
It's a shame he couldn't have a nice run out against someone like Fulham. You know what I mean? About he ain't going to get kicked to pieces. But Everton away is always a very. I don't know what happens up there, but every time we play there, we come off the pitch with an injured player. So yeah, I wouldn't play him the 90 minutes then.
What's your forget the games we've got. Let's just imagine Saka needs to get some fitness. What Saka are we going to see for the rest of the season, in your opinion? Because I really don't know, Chris. I don't know if we're going to get the same player. I don't know if we're going to get the same player this season and he'll be all right next season. I really don't know how to call this one, mate.
Well, the thing is, I think once you've had an injury like that, it's not just physical, it's mental. And if you look at what Saka's career, e.g., he missed a penalty for England and he got slaughtered by everyone. He come through that okay, and he might look nice. He's a lovely boy, you bring him home. If your daughter brought him home, you'd be over the moon. But he's mentally tough, and he hasn't got this far in football without being tough up here, Dan. So I think he'll be all right. But that first game, people have done this injury. You do that first sprint. It'll be in his head. But mental toughness, it's all down to the doctors, Dan. They obviously, they do know what they're doing at the Arsenal and the medical team. So let's hope that when he steps on that pitch, we'll see the best version of Saka. But I'm not expecting miracles off of him. Because it was a bad injury. And as you rightly said, if we had a cover for him, we wouldn't be in this position. But then, we're starting all that up again. So
yeah, we've been needing that for about 3 seasons now, which is mad, really, that we're still in this position where for 5 years we've needed a striker, and for the last 4 we've needed a backup winger, and we ain't got it either of it. It's crazy. But yeah, again, we're starting that up again. Let me ask you this, talking of mental toughness, because I'm with you. I think Saka's a wicked kid, humble, unbelievable person, but he's a tough kid. Talking of mentality and toughness, I'm going to ask you this question, right? And this is in no way a dig at any of these players that I'm going to mention, okay? Gabriel, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard. You've got to give one of them the captain's armband and the other one the vice-captain. Which 2 are you picking?
Rice, Gabriel.
Okay, same as me, right? Other way around. I'd have Gabriel captain, Rice as vice. Rice as vice, that rhymes. And Odegaard, I've got no problem with. I actually like him as a footballer. A lot of people are getting on his back, and I disagree with Lee quite a lot because he doesn't like him at all, and I think he's a good player. I actually think he's more of an attacking 8 than a creative 10. However, I do think there's a place for him in the team.
Yeah.
But he hasn't impressed me this season, Chris. And I don't know what it is about him. He's been injured. He's been sick. I get it. But now he ain't injured anymore and he ain't sick anymore. So what's happening with him?
Well, even he said the other day he hasn't been good enough this season. So he's honest. He's come out public and said, I haven't been good enough. But the question is why? I'll return to the injury. I'm trying to think, in his career, I don't think he's had a serious injury like that.
No.
Perhaps up here, perhaps he's not as mentally strong as some of the people. You know what I mean? Perhaps he's. I'm still noticing it, Dan. I've said it before. When he's hitting the ball, he's not hitting it cleanly. With that, he done his ankling. He's just not hitting the ball that clean. But you can't write him off because I think next, and he's had. People might laugh at this, but he's had a new baby. And so, well, what's that got to do with it? Well, he may not be getting enough sleep, Dan. But you don't know, do you? It affects people. You don't know what's going on off the pitch. Something in his family, you just don't know. You don't. When I look at him, Dan, he don't look well. Look at the pictures of Odegaard. He looked like a picture of health and like he's an Alpen advert, wasn't he? Like he's blonde there. He looked. I'm taking my inner man love out here. He was a very good looking man, but this year he looks a bit. Have you not noticed his face, Dan? He looks a bit drawn, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I'm bending over backwards here, making excuses for him. something. If he's admitted to the whole world, I've not been good enough this season, that's good enough for me. And I just hope he comes back stronger. Perhaps taking the captaincy off of him, by the way, would do him a favour. Perhaps someone made a good point to me the other day. He's trying to do too much. He's running around the field like a bat out of hell, isn't he?
Yeah, I must admit, I was listening to Forever Arsenal, and Jordan made a good point about that and said he's playing in the 6, the 8, the 10, and the false 9. And at the moment, we're putting too much on him. I will say, though, I agree with what the chat is saying here. Let's bring up some of these comments. Big up to Max, by the way, absolute legend every time. He says he feels like Odegaard will start firing against once Saka and the new striker come back in. Yeah. Footy Corner TV says more attention now. Saka ain't playing. I agree with that. I think he's missing Saka big time. And I think what I respect so much about Bukayo Saka is when Martin Odegaard was out earlier this season, Saka was shining. Now Saka's out, we're looking to Odegaard to do what Saka did, and he can't do it. He's just not that player. He ain't a moment's player. He ain't that quality. He ain't nowhere near as good as Bukayo Saka. I think Saka's proven alongside Saliba he's the best player in the team. And I think when you look at Odegaard, at the moment, I need to see him on the left a bit more because he's always glued to that right-hand side. And I think that last night summed up to me a player that I don't rate. I think he's a good footballer, but I don't want him here. Played in his position, did quite a good job, and did something that he can't do: shoot and score. Because how many times have we seen have we seen Odegaard get in Zinchenko's positions and not shoot? He even did it when he came on last night, Chris. He came on last night. I thought, there you go. Oh, he's not shot again. He's passing it again. And I think that frustrates the life out of me. I want my attacking 10 to hit the ball like Kevin De Bruyne does, like Foden does, like these attackers that always have done over the years. He reminds me of Ozil in that respect, where he don't want to shoot. He wants to make the perfect goal for everyone. I want someone to hit it, which is why I think he's more suited to an 8. He's more suited to an 8. Get that Florian Wirtz in the 10, or get that number 10, whoever you want, in the 10. Put him in the 8. That's what I would do personally, moving forward.
Well, I suppose that takes us nicely onto the new director of football.
Yeah.
And the summer transfer. So that's going to be interesting. This morning we're connected with 2 Newcastle players. We're connected with everyone at the moment. So, it's going to be an interesting summer. I'll tell you that. But what will be interesting to me is can this director of football find a player like a gem, like Bournemouth are going to Juventus reserves and buying Hudson for 12 million. I mean, wow. Brighton are doing it, and they Fulham to a lesser extent. Forest. Obviously, we need ready-made players because we can't have another year like this. We need. So in the summer, I'm looking at 5 transfers. I want 3 big names, and at the same time, I want 2 gems. I want this bloke to unearth. That's a good sign of a good director of football. You go, who? And he turns out to be a very good player. That's what. And in the midfield.
Let me come in on that because Berta has got experience. And Berta has not just got experience of buying top quality ready-made players like Luis Suarez and the David Villas and the Fernando Torres and all these guys. He's also unearthed some gems. Like he's given Villarreal 20 million and said, we'll have that Rodri fella. And he's gone and won the Ballon d'Or now. Yeah. They've gone up to the likes of teams and has said, we'll have Diogo Jota, please, before he was at Wolves or Liverpool. We'll have Mateus Cunha, who's now at Wolves and wasn't at Wolves before. Rodrigo de Paul, even Julian Alvarez, to be fair to him, they brought him in now. Very shrewd players very shrewd signings that he's brought through. And alongside Diego Simeone, who I know for a fact from what people have told me, they fell out quite a bit, but it was more of a love-hate relationship, because they were both winners and they wanted to get across the line. I think he'll be phenomenal if he's allowed to have a powerful voice. And that's my biggest anxiety and concern now. Is he going to be allowed to be the most important man at the club, or is it still Josh Kroenke and Arteta?
Well, the thing is, he must have had an interview, Dan, and so they must have said what they expect of him, and then he must have turned around and he said, "Well, I expect what I expect of you." And I see Arteta said the other day that we've all got to be aligned. Arteta, Josh the Bald,
Yep.
in this new chap. So there's your answer. I think he ain't going to come here and be a yes man, because I don't think in that way. I don't think he would have accepted the job, Dan, would he?
I don't think so.
That cheers me up. But he's such an important window. I've got to tell you, this is no more cock ups, no more excuses, and they've all got in the real world, they've all got to be on that plane when they take off for their pre-season tour of the Far East. I don't want to be going out to the Far East. We still haven't got a striker. We're ooming and ahhing. It's got to be done, Dan.
I agree.
But I'll tell you another interesting thing is, if he's going to come here, look at the squad. I wonder if he say he might make an unpopular decision on players. He might say, as you know, he might turn around and say, "I think we got to sell him."
Mate,
people you might be shocked about.
I don't mind what he does, unless he says I want to get rid of Saka and Saliba. But I think what I want to see is, if he says might be time to get some money for Martinelli, I'm not going to cry. Although I like Martinelli, if that's the right decision and Berta believes that's how we can get some players in, let's do it. Yeah. What Berta needs to do, in my opinion, is he needs to do what he thinks is right from an experienced sporting director role. And everybody around him needs to go, right, this guy's okay, fair play. We're going to have to give him what he needs. Because you're right in saying that he's gone into that interview and said, this is what I do. It's my way. This is how I do it. This is why I do it. And this is how I've got evidence to suggest it works. And they go, yeah, brilliant. And then they turn on that and go, actually, no, me and Josh said we were going to do this. And Josh and Mikel said they were going to do this. I will get the ump. I will get the ump if that happens. And if he decides to walk, we'll know what the problem is, won't we? Because that'll be Vinay, Edu, and Berta that have all walked out. And we then know that Josh and Arteta are the problem. So when I look at it, we're going to find a lot out about where we're at. And we're also going to look back in the last 4 or 5 years and find out where the problems were. It is all going to come out. It is all going to come out. It really is. And I think Edu's going to talk in the summer. I think he's going to talk in the summer and explain what's happened. And he'll be coy about it, but he'll make enough sense to know where the problems and where his fingers are pointing. So
but the thing is, Dan, with this team, if you look, since Arteta, how long's Arteta been at the end of this year? It'll be 5 seasons, won't it?
5 seasons.
Am I right in saying? So basically, this summer will be Arteta's what I call his 3rd team. So his first team is what he inherited and went on to win the FA Cup, and we did a season in Europe. But then he cleared them out, and he brought Smith Rowe, all the youngsters through, Declan Rice, etc. Gabriel brought them, and this team at the moment has lasted 3 seasons, 5th last season and this year. So I think even if Edu was still at Arsenal, I still think this team has reached its plateau, because in the end, you've got to freshen it up. See, I've got a fear, perhaps last year, coming second and missing the league by 2 points. We've all been saying it's something not right this season. We're not playing the same. I think mentally, did that have an impact on Arteta and the players?
I think it's exhausted them. Yeah, I think it's exhausted them. But I don't think that we can look at that as an excuse. I think we can maybe look at it as the reasons as why they dropped off. But I don't think it's an excuse to go, oh, well, fair play. Because how many years with Fergie was Wenger close and dropped off, and we went back the next year and we won it, or we went back the next year. So we've got to do that. We've got to keep going. We never dropped off by 13 points behind Man United, though, did we? Like we are now. This is a complete capitulation, in my opinion. It's awful.
Yeah. The thing is, though, Dan, those 3 years we come second to Man United, we had better players what we got now.
I agree. I agree.
But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, I think whatever happens, this squad of players has reached its ceiling. Yeah. And there's going to be 8 or 9 walking out the door this summer, so they've got to be replaced. So really, this will be Arteta's what I call his 3rd team.
So I agree. I agree what you're saying there, right? I agree what you're saying. With everything you're saying, the only thing I would add to that is his first team he walked in on didn't want. His second team he rebuilt and went for 2 titles. And his 3rd team is the one he's got now rebuild in the summer. right? Because it is kind of a rebuild, really. When you're looking
Yeah,
at
it
8 or
is.
9 players walking out, yeah, you got to look at that as a rebuild. My problem is you say that you think the squad's reached its ceiling. Has Mikel Arteta reached his ceiling with Arsenal? That's what we need to really ask. That's what we need to
That's a
really
good.
ask.
If you'd asked me that in August, I'd have said no. But if you ask me that now, I'm going to say possible. But the thing is, one thing about Arteta, one thing he's quite brutal on himself. And the question is, at the end of the season, when he goes have his break with his family, he'll look in the window and he'll ask himself, have I done enough this season? And have I made mistakes? Which, he said that before. That's what he does. So I think the answer to that, Mikel, I think you have made a few mistakes. But I'm not going to throw the towel on him just yet, Dan.
You
But the
give him
thing is,
till you give him the next season, yeah?
yeah, he's going to be under immense pressure next year. And if we're buying players from all over the world, they're not going to. You can't just expect them to turn up in the Premier League and hit the ground running unless they're really top quality. That's what I'm saying. This summer, I don't want no more experiments. I want 3 or 4 quality players and some gems found, and they've got to hit the ground. I know I'm contradicting myself, but they have got to hit the ground running. And then remember, Liverpool and Man City ain't going to sit in the arse all summer. Chelsea will go again. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Man United can't be awful forever. Villa, you've got to take them seriously. Forest, their owner, throw money at it. This is what I'm saying. The last broadcast we did, Dan. What the ball did in January this year was a disgrace, because you don't know this time next year we'll be second in the league and through the last 8 of the Champions League. You just don't know that. And they had the opportunity. I know I'm repeating myself, and they've blown it. And then anything we achieve this year is down to the team and the manager. Nothing to do with the people upstairs. All they're worried about is that, Dan, and how much they're going to charge us for Madrid at home.
Frustrating. That's what it is. Look, I'm with you with everything you're saying, Chris. I'm not going to lie about it. I do feel like there's a lot of talk on this transfer window coming up in this next season and how much pressure Mikel Arteta's under. And I think he's under immense pressure next season. He's going to stay. There's no point in talking about his position this summer.
No.
I do think there's an opportunity to talk about it next summer, though, because with Berta coming in and with a window that everyone expects to be quite exciting, we're being told again we've got a war chest, which we hear every bloody year. But with Berta coming in, if I'm honest with you, I've got the experience. I've got the excitement now because of his experience that we might have a half-decent summer. What comes with that is even more pressure from Mikel Arteta, because people have said we've had injuries. We've still not got a striker. He's still not got his team, which I hate, by the way. He's had 5 years and 31 players, but he's still not got his team. What's all that about? So I don't feel personally like he can have any more time. I personally would remove him if he doesn't win the Champions League. A lot of people think that's out of order. I don't, because I think in 5 years with 0 trophies, that's bad at Arsenal. If you go and manage Everton and West Ham and Newcastle, all good. But we're not West Ham and Newcastle. Yeah.
The thing is, Dan, I don't want to sound like some old codger, but the Arsenal way.
Yeah, I know. I get that.
Arsenal are 130 years old. They might be a bit more. 1886. Someone can tell me how many years old we are. And in that time, we've had 25 full-time managers. That's amazing. Man City have had that in 30 years.
Yeah.
But I'm just making a point. That's not the Arsenal way. There is no way in God's... No.
And I'm not saying that is the right way either, by the way. Yeah. Because obviously Chelsea had 20 managers and have got 25 trophies. I'd rather have 25 trophies, right? I don't really boast about, oh, wow, we've had this manager for 20 years now. Ain't won anything, but he's been here for 20 years. Do you know what I mean? So you're right in what you're saying. We don't genuinely do that. Like in my whole lifetime of 37 years, yeah, I grew up on George Graham. We had Rioch for a season and a half. It was awful. And then we had Wenger, yeah. And then we had Emery and now Arteta. So we have 5 managers in 37 years that I've been watching.
So in 67 years, you've had 5. I've had Bertie, me, Jules Graham, Pat Rice, gone now, then Wenger, Riot Wenger. I show you
You've
what I
had
mean. I
about
ain't
eight.
had that
You've had
many.
about 8 or
Yeah,
9, and I've had 5. There we go. So, and
yeah,
I ain't counting some of the caretaker managers like Lundberg and Houston and all them guys, because they weren't managers. They just take over whilst we get on the proper manager in, right? So, I look at it and I think there's an opportunity for us to make a decision. But I ask you again, would the opportunity be this summer, not next summer? Because with Berta coming in, it just makes sense to me to bring in somebody like Diego Simeone, Simone Inzaghi, to work alongside Berta to get what we need on this team. Because a lot of people said, Troop said it to me yesterday or the day before. It is so like obvious that this squad ain't far away. You don't have to look at this and go, right, go and get me another 15 players here because this lot of rubbish.
yeah.
Yeah. You've said 8 or 9 are probably going out. You probably do need 7 or 8 that are coming in, right? That's it. 7 or 8 players. That's 2 transfer windows tops. Yeah, that's all this needs, this squad. It don't need 5 with like Man United needs serious work. Yeah. Chelsea still are quite far off. Tottenham needs to be blown up and start again. Yeah. There's not many clubs in the Premier League that I say are ready to go other than Arsenal and Liverpool right now. Because Man City, they're similar to us. They'll probably need 5 or 6 players coming in now
Well,
because some of them have all got that age together. Yeah. So we're not in a bad place, Chris. I don't think. I don't have the conviction that the manager can get us across the line. That's just me.
well, no, that's a good point because, like, if you're going to hypothetically spend, I don't know, £300 million this summer, you don't want to give Arteta £300 million and 12 months later you're sacking him, do you?
No.
So if you was to make a decision, this summer would be the summer to do it. But they're not going to do it. So, I see what you're getting at, but it's not going to happen then. But because then that'd be another interesting thing is how much money they give Arteta this summer. But then as we've said, this new chap, he's not going to turn up. He's not coming here, retire, and have a cigar and tread water. He's going to come. He wants to come to the English Premier League, and he wants to make Arsenal successful.
I agree.
So, no, I don't know when that window opens, June the 5th or 6th. I don't want to see no ifs or buts then.
No,
I want to see
neither.
action.
And look, let me before I come to the weekend and get your thoughts on that, let me just touch on that quickly on the summer because a lot of people are talking about the summer window. Now, I know that we like talking about transfer windows and people get excited. I personally don't because they frustrate the life out of me when you support Arsenal. However, there's a lot of people that do like to talk about it. So let's have a quick butchers on it. The season for me is pretty much done. When we lose to Real Madrid, I say if, but I should say if, but I'm kind of saying when because I don't have confidence we're going to do that. We go to the summer. We've had a poor season. We need to go and shake it up. You say you want to see players coming in and you want to see 3 big names and 2 gems. What positions do you think those 5 areas need to be in? And
Oh,
can
it's
you give
easy.
me any? Go on.
Striker. I mean, that's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
A wide attacker.
Yeah.
I want the boy. I like to buy the geezer from Bournemouth, Semiu.
Yeah.
A striker. Take your pick. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. I just, yeah. Obviously, yeah. Midfield. I'm taking it as read as the Real Sociedad player is done, which is a very dangerous thing to say about Arsenal. And another midfield player. So already I've how many is that? That's 4 already, isn't it? I bought a midfielder, striker and a winger, backup goalkeeper, and a utility defender. You can cover. You know what I mean? And then, and also, back to my. Do you remember when Wenger used to go out sometimes and buy? He bought Petit over Mars, and then he went out and bought a Boa Maltese, didn't he? Or someone just. I like to see us just find some good European young talent and bring it in. Like possibly the Norwegian boy, I forget his name at the moment. What's his name?
Naipan.
Yeah. So you want invest some money in some youth as well. So that's what I want, but whether I'll get it is another thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all want Sank, and we don't know if we're going to get that right. And I'm with you there. I mean, I want Isak, but I know we're probably going to end up with Sesko. That's just the reality of it, and unfortunately, that's
Well,
where Mikel Arteta's lying. Well, just quickly on that, what do you make of that striker position? Because I think it needs to be an Isak or a Gyökeres. I don't want it to be a Sesko, or I don't want it to be someone who's going to come in and be all
how
right in the
about
first 2 years.
Latino Martinez at Inter Milan?
They're talking about him with Berta's coming in and they're fancying him. I mean, I've he's not my favourite striker out of the list, but I don't think he's a bad player. No, I don't think he's a bad player. I'd rather have
Well,
him than Sesko.
well, I think Martin Keown on that. Did you listen to that handbrake thing with Amy Lawrence? Did you hear that?
I
They had
didn't know.
Keown on there, yeah, and he hinted. He didn't say the name, but he hinted that Arsenal already done a deal for a number 9. So I think it is Sesko there. Which I
I think that's
don't,
who it is. Yeah.
that's who it is. But then I wouldn't mind someone a wide attacker. I'm not a great lover of that. Actually, is it Williams in Spain?
No, Nico Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my opinion, but not for me.
No, I agree with both of them things. If we end up with Sesko and Williams, I'm going to be quite underwhelmed, if I'm honest. Quite deflated. But look, he might come in and shake it up though, Berta, and say, "What the hell are you buying Sesko and Williams for?" No, leave that to me. I'll sort this out. I'll go get Isak. I'll go get Ademola Lookman. I'll go get Cunha. I'll go get Morgan Rogers. I'll go and get these type of players. This is what I want this guy to do. Or, like you say, Chris, he comes in and he finds the next Jude Bellingham for us, and he finds the next Isak, and he finds the next Robert Pires, or whatever it be. I mean, this is what I want this guy to do. So I don't really want us to keep going and saying, we've already done our business. We've already agreed a fee with Atletico. Williams is coming. Zubamendi's coming. And Sesko's coming. He's going to go, what am I here for then? What did you employ me for if you've already bought everyone? What the hell? If all the money's gone, what am I here for? Might as well have got me next year. So this is where we got
Good
to go
point.
careful with this Berta. You know what I mean? Like if he's walking in the door and they're saying, right, good news, settle in, find out where the loos are, put your cigar out because you don't have to worry about until January now. We've done it all. They're all coming. I think that would be very disappointing. And some of those names, they don't excite me, if I'm honest. Nico Williams lit the Euros up. He was phenomenal, right? But it wasn't the reason that Spain won it. Yeah, they're a brilliant team. He was part of that team. In Atletico's team, he don't look that great. From what I'm hearing, the stats ain't superb. The goals and assists ain't there, and he flatters to deceive. Sesko, his numbers ain't great, mate. I mean, I think he scored 17 this year, which is pretty good. But it ain't better than like an Ollie Watkins or a Isak or not that I'd want Ollie Watkins, by the way, but he's not better than Gyökeres. He's not better than Isak. He's not better than Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean? Like these numbers are not like, wow, that's taken Arsenal to a new level. He scored 17 in the Bundesliga. Like that ain't for me. So I need to, and I don't want to be buying any. I don't mind buying someone that ain't that's going to be ready in a couple of years that isn't needed. If you go and buy that knee pad, let's say, and he's going to be ready in a couple of years, we're not really going to play him. So it's not a problem. But if we're bringing someone now, put him in that team and say he'll be ready in 2 years, he's going to be awful for the first 2, but let's just keep him there because he will be good one day. I don't want players like that. I want players coming in this first 11 that are ready now. And Isak's ready now. Rogers is ready now. Lookman is ready now, and he's winning stuff at the moment with Atalanta. You've got players like Zubamendi, to be fair, who's ready now, has just won the Euros. You know what I mean? And I think you're right. When I look at a squad of 25, which I think is what everyone needs bare minimum now, you look at a first 11, a second 11, which is 22, and then you look at a utility player in each department, one across the front three, one across the midfield, and one across the defence. That's the 25-man squad that I want, right? So I think that we are a little bit of a way off that. There's a lot of players that got to go. And I'm not just talking about Lukongas and Tavares and all these guys.
No.
We've got to look at, Tierney's going to go, Zinchenko's going to go, Kivior I think is going to go, Jesus ain't going to be fit, yeah, and probably going to want to go. I think Trossard might leave. Jorginho and Partey, Tomiyasu probably up for grabs. That's 8 without me touching the sides, and there's the others on loan as well, like the Nelsons that you got to look at. So we could actually be looking at potentially double figures of people leaving. That's a big exodus in the summer, Chris, isn't it?
It's massive, mate. So, like you, I mean, I like to try and switch off in the summer, but you just know this summer is going to be 24/7, isn't it? Robbie's transfer daily. Where would I be without Rob's transfer daily? Yeah.
I know. It's going to be a big summer, man. It really is. Look, just lastly before we close, Chelsea at the weekend. What are you thinking? What are you thinking for the team, and what are you thinking for the result, mate?
Well, I'm thinking we got to win, Dan. That's what I'm thinking. I see Martinelli through the middle, Trossard and Ephraim up front. I don't want to see Mourinho up front.
No.
We just got to win. I mean, they've hit a bit of a rocky patch. They beat Leicester, but they only beat them 1-0. They struggled to beat Southampton. Cole Palmer's gone right off form. So it's a London derby, but we got to be up for it. You know, because we got an international break. As I said at the start of this, I don't want to go into that international break with teams up our backside. If we win, we go 9 points clear of Chelsea. You know, that sums it up. So and try and take the shackles off a little bit. You know, I know it's a big ask of Mikel at the moment. We've got to let's try and play a little bit on the front foot, because you know, the last home game against West Ham was awful. So we sent people over the edge, isn't it? Really, I think that was the game when people snapped.
Well, that was the game when we realised the title was definitely done and dusted. I didn't think it was ever on, to be fair. I spoke to Kenny Ken. I don't think we've ever been in a title race this season. I really don't. I don't look at it and think, oh, yeah, we're back in the race. We've been miles off. Weren't we 9 points off with Saka and Havertz at one stage? Like, come on, man. We've never been in a title race. We just haven't. And I don't think we've been anywhere near it. However, we have got a chance now to win a trophy, and that, of course, is the Champions League. We're going to have to put all of our eggs in that basket and cross everything, close our eyes, pray, and say, please, if there's a God up there, please help us, because we need to get ourselves across the line against Real Madrid and stink our way through it, to be honest, because I'm absolutely praying that that's what we can do, because we get through Real Madrid. We just got to then see who we get next and go to the next and try and stink our way through that one, because that's all we've got, man. That's the only hope I've got at the moment. The season is over otherwise. We're out of everything.
There is the thing. I mean, if we did go out of Real Madrid, I don't want to see the team sulking, because usually when you go, there's always, I don't know, when you go out of the Champions League, the following league match, there's always you know what I mean? After what go? We lost to Bayern Munich last year, Dan. We come back and lost to Villa on the Saturday. It cost us the title.
Yep.
That's another thing.
Well, unfortunately, they were the two games where we absolutely crumbled. And if I'm honest with you, I blamed that on the manager, to be fair, because I don't know why he dropped Kai Havertz back to midfield. We lost in both of them. I mean, it clearly doesn't work. You know, and this season he's played Partey at right back 6 times. We've lost them all. Or we've not won them all, sorry. I mean, what is he doing? This is mad, isn't it? It's quite crazy, really. So look, that's what it is. We're in this position, and we look forward to the weekend. I'm actually away at the weekend, so I'm not going to the game. But
mate.
I know. Well, I've got a stag weekend, so I should be with them. So that should be fun. So yeah, I do think it'll be a good game, but I'm going to go for a draw, mate.
Right?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw. I think, as much as I don't think Chelsea are great, I also don't think that we're playing great either. So that's where I am going to be. I'm going to go for a stinking 0-0. I think it's going to be an awful game because neither team can score goals. I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. If you say think we're going to win, I hope you're right. What are you saying?
I think as the Martinelli's back, gives me a bit of hope. I'm going for a controversial 2-1 to the Arsenal with a 93rd minute dodgy penalty. Yeah, 2-1 to Arsenal and a penalty 93rd minute ruined Jason Cundy's weekend.
And then someone can ring up and go, has anyone seen Chelsea?
2-1.
Look, man, I'd love to say we win it 1-0, stink it 1-0. I don't care. As long as I take 3 points. I don't care what the score is. I just want to keep winning these, to be fair. I just struggle to see where we're scoring at the moment. Now, you might be right with Martinelli, Ethan and Trossard, but is he going to play that? Or is he going to play Martinelli, Ethan and Marino? You know what I mean? This is what I don't know. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think if we play Marino up top, it definitely will be 0-0. But if we play Martinelli, Ethan, and Trossard, we might have a chance because obviously Sterling's out for this one, isn't he? So it's
can't play.
Yeah, he can't play. So yeah, I'll go for 1-0 to the Arsenal. Be optimistic. There we go. Let's try and be optimistic. Yeah, that's what's going to have to happen. Anyway, listen, stay tuned, people. We're redirecting you over to It's LB. I'll be on there at 12 o'clock with Roms and Dan and Wolfie talking about, which is a show which needs to be changed now because it is supposed to be talk about title talk, but we are, of course, going to talk about the European games because the title's done and dusted, it seems, for sure. So make sure you go show some love over there. Hit a like on this one. Make sure you show some love and subscribe. Make sure you're following Chris on socials as well. And we will see you next time, people. Take it easy. Cheers, Chris.
All right. See you later.